Hello, everyone, and welcome to Kings of Fantasy Football. I'm your co-host Pablo, and here's my co-host.
Leo.
So, on today's episode, we are going to talk about some players who we think you should I don't know if avoid is the right word, so we're going to say, keep an eye on leading up to your drafts. These are people that, you know, can have really good seasons, but it's really dependent on, you know, what happens between now and the start of this season. So I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is going to be Puka Nakua. And the reason I'm going to say to keep an eye on Puka Nakua is because Matthew Stafford has been dealing with a back injury, and the latest reports is that he had to get an epidural shot. And I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say if you're having to get an epidural shot because your back is hurting that much, then probably not in good shape. I also heard that Stafford is going to have to sit out in the joint practice with the Cowboys. I don't know if it's this week or next week. So if he is not 100% healthy, if he ends up going down at some point during the season, that is going to limit Puka's value, in my opinion. Right now, he's being drafted as one of the top wide receivers um, so far. So imagine if you draft him high, whether it be the first round or early second, and then Stafford goes down. It's really going to affect his ability to be, getting those points that he would normally get with Stafford. I don't know if he can get him with Jimmy Garoppolo. So definitely something to keep an eye on between now and the start of this season. Leo, would you kind of be in the same boat, or you're just like, man, it's Puka. He's like a Justin Jefferson type of guy where he's still going to perform regardless of the QB?
Um, yes and no. I agree with you that definitely if Stafford is out, that's definitely a big hit for him. Stafford's proven that he has eyes for him only, and even with Cooper Cup last year, on back from his injury, and Puka still came through for fantasy managers last year. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I actually have Puka. I actually kept them in my keeper league, but the thing is, I kept them as a ninth round value. So I can live with that. If whatever happens. But at that draft position in my keeper league, I kept Puka there to see what happens. So my first guy is I used to love this guy. He's been one of my in dynasty. I've had him since he was a rookie, and I was riding with him for a while. And I know he brought in your horizons, your sons when he arrived in the Texans last year. But this year, after an injury riddled off season at the end of the last season and then off season, my first guy is Joe Mixon. He's been very, like I said, last few years he's been really uh, very steady for fantasy managers. The unfortunate thing is that since last year he's been dealing with an injury, and even throughout the, you know, nothing was said throughout the summer, and as the training camp started getting closer, then we started hearing, he's in a walking boot and this and that. Um, one of the flags that kind of like sort of got us obviously uh, ring our alarms was when they signed Nick Chubb. Because Nick Chubb was coming from his own injury last year. Now he's back, and he signed with them. So that should have raised some more red flags when that happened. So we'll see. He's still, to me, he's already Mixon is gonna be. I'm not sure if he's on the pulp already, but he's definitely not gonna looking like he's not gonna start the season. Um, so we'll see. That he has a current ADP of 50, 51, and I'd rather draft other uh, players around that like that like Rasheed Rice or even DK Metcalf, Devontae Smith. Those are even DeAndre Swift. That's going like 3 picks after him. I'd rather draft him than Joe Mixon. Because I know Swift is going to be the lead dog in the Bears offense. So I would rather let someone else deal with the injuries and not you know wonder when he's coming back. So I'm going to pass on him.
So yeah, he is on the pup. As a Texans fan, I know it's not something anyone wants to hear. And the bad part is, from what I've heard about Chubb, is that he's not the same like he was when he had that breakout season before he got seriously hurt. So it can be very very difficult for the Texans' ability to run the ball, which is what we were having issues with when Mixon was down, for those games last year. But we'll see. Like you said, now if he's slipping to like round 7 or 8, I think I would still pick him up. But I just round 5 current ADP. Yeah, I think I'd rather go with someone healthier. Now the next guy that I'm going to talk about was I don't know about all over Twitter, but it was being talked about yesterday. The depth chart that came out from the Broncos before this first preseason game was that RJ Harvey is running back 5, which is very different from what a lot of managers were hoping for. Like, I'm currently looking at a depth chart from ESPN Fantasy Football, and they have RJ Harvey as RB1. So not that they have him, all the way down in 5. Is it they're playing mind games? Is it that he's been messing up, not going to meetings or what have you, and they're gonna make him earn that RB1? For anyone that's already drafted, I mean, that could be very, heartbreaking, because you were drafting Harvey thinking that he was going to be that day one starter you didn't have to worry about. But now, again, it was being talked about yesterday on Twitter that he is now the RB5. So if you haven't drafted, something definitely to keep an eye on, especially if he's not, if he's still not there as the RB1 on day one, or if he's not even playing during the preseason. I mean, again, who knows, especially now with coaches and trying to keep things close to the chest. But I know people were thinking that he was going to be, like Kamara, especially with Sean Payton and how he used Kamara when he was in New Orleans. So it's definitely something, to look at going into the season. Who's your next player?
Another player. The next one that I'm going to go with is that he's also coming back from another injury that at first many thought that he was going to be ready to go when training camp started, but he's still not ready, and that's Chris Godwin. Godwin currently has an ADP of at 80, and for me, the with that, with the injury that he's dealing with, along with the the rookie that they picked up, Ibukwa, that we kind of talked about in the last podcast. I think that he's going to take over, and also Jalen McMillan, that was there previously last year, that came on late after he was injured. I don't see Godwin making any unless he proves that he's healthy. Like I definitely don't see that he's going to be able to be ready to contribute early on. And I don't. I've in the past I've kind of taken chances with guys like these that you draft them, they're injured, but they're about to come back, and the thing just lags on, and the injury just lags on, and if you want to do that, go for it. But for me, I'm just gonna pass on that. players like that this year. There's a lot of going where he's going. There's Jalen Waddle is like around that same ADP, which to me he's on the rise. Jerry Judy, who was the wide receiver one last year, if Joe Flacco does end up being the quarterback there, he should be get a lot of targets as well, and also even a little bit after that, Romo Dunze, that he's on the way up too. So definitely, there's other options around where Godwin is currently being drafted. So he's a pass for me.
Yeah, it's crazy that, we're talking about that, especially, when he was healthy. I think he was like a wide receiver 3 overall before he went down, or even maybe number 1, because I had him, and then, he went down. So it was really, really tough after that. Now, the next person that I'm going to talk about is a brand new signing. I think it happened yesterday or the day before, and that is going to be Mr. Keenan Allen. So I know a lot of people, once they heard the news, he's going back to his QB, Justin Herbert, is going back to the Chargers. But, there's a new head coach. The new head coach is, run first oriented. So I don't think that he's going to be that, same Keenan Allen when he was there and had the breakout year, I want to say like 3 or 4 years ago, where bro was just, doing really good. Lad McConkey's the wide receiver 1. He's gonna be the go-to. Um, on the depth chart that I'm looking at, they actually have Allen as the wide receiver 2, so maybe. But expecting for him to be the same exact person. Um, and I have not done a mock since he went to the Chargers, but when I was doing mocks, let's see where he was going. I actually don't see his name, so maybe that kind of tells you. This was just from a few days ago.
Yeah,
So
he was pretty down there. So obviously he'll probably start coming up a little bit, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, I hear you.
yeah, just kind of be mindful. We would like for him to, pick up where he left off when he was with the Chargers, but again, new coach, maybe it's a new system and everything from when he was there when they were, throwing the ball more. So that's something to keep an eye on. Who's your next guy?
Yeah, Keenan definitely has been fading last couple of years. Um, when he's with the Bears, he does come back. So yeah, definitely someone to kind of push away for now. My next guy is he's been very solid for fantasy managers for like always, like as long as he's healthy. But this year he's coming in healthy. He's hot and heavy, but unfortunately, um, Mr. Aaron Jones he's gonna have someone to deal with in the backfield this year, I believe. So Aaron Jones is my next guy that I'm gonna uh, probably avoid drafting. He has a current ADP of 64, which is in the about 6th round. He's the reason why I'm kind of like fading on him is that he does have his he does deal with his injuries here and there, but the Vikings went after Jordan Mason, which I believe he's gonna push him. I don't know about going like a 50-50 split with him, but definitely I think he's gonna go want to have some um make an impression on the offense with he proved last year when McCaffrey went down, if he that he can take he can definitely handle the rock, and I would rather pass on Aaron Jones and draft Jordan Mason, who's has an ADP of 119. Several rounds later. So you can pass on Aaron Jones and then you know strengthen up your whether you want another running back or your receiving position. Going around that, you have Ted McMillan going on, George Pickens, even Isaiah Pacheco that he's coming back. So yeah, definitely there's other options there. Even Calvin Ridley. Those are like 4 straight picks or 5 straight picks after that are going right after Aaron Jones. That I would rather have any of those guys than him, and then I can draft Jordan Mason several rounds later.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of talk that at some point, whether it's the later half of the season, they just feel like Jordan Mason is just going to take over that backfield and, drafting him in, round 10 and 11 versus how you're saying Jones being 5 or 6 round is much, much better, especially if you were to draft him and then, Aaron Jones misses time or has fumble issues, how he has in the past, then Jordan Mason can be that lead back and then maybe he may not lose that job. So kind of how you're saying once CMC went down, everyone that got Jordan Mason was probably really happy because, he kind of took over that backfield. So definitely agree. Now, my next person that I would not draft as high as he's going right now and really really shocked me because I was watching TikTok and I heard some report that they're not interested in signing him to like a long-term deal, and this is Breece Hall of the Jets. Apparently, not only has the new head coach, but the new GM, they've flat out told Breece Hall that you are not our guy. Which again was really baffling because I don't think Breece Hall has done bad by any means. So if they're telling him that already, are they going to just kind of slowly diminish his workload and have Braden Allen in there instead? So it's kind of like the same Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason situation where I'm sure you can draft Braden Allen much later versus, using a high draft pick to get Breece Hall. But again, the fact that they've already told Breece Hall that we're not going to sign you after this year is really crazy because I don't know if any team has done that before the season starts. Normally it's like, maybe towards the later half of the season. So you never know. Breece Hall can just be like, all right, well, I'm just going to sit out or something. And that's definitely something that I would avoid Breece Hall, if that's the case. Who's your next guy?
Well, before I go to my next guy, I hope you're wrong with him because Breece Hall's on my dynasty team. So,
Bro, I'm telling you, man, that's what I was seeing, and I'm like, wow.
it could it
Again,
could be
new
that
GM, new head coach,
yeah,
and they
no,
could
yeah,
have just been like,
they're not
all right.
they're not tied to him. So yeah, I could see that. It could also mean that they're gonna, even though they're not gonna sign him, they could run him into the ground and he does a lot of touches. So that's what I'm hoping for. I think he's more talented, especially in the receiving game, than Braylon Allen. So we'll see. We'll see how that one plays out. But I hope you're wrong on that one. I hope you're wrong. My next guy is he's always been a receiver that's always going in the top 2-3 rounds. This year he's kind of faded back a little bit because he had dealt with a concussion issue last year. Actually a couple concussion issues, and that's Chris Olave. Uh, Not only the concussion issue is one thing. That obviously if he gets hit again, God forbid, he might be out. But his quarterback situation is atrocious there. In the with the Saints. Derek Carr left, which isn't saying much because he hasn't done much since he's gotten to New Orleans. But with Spencer Rattler there and Chris So, the the quarterbacks that are there, I don't really see any of them as of now making any headways and being able to fulfill the potential that like Olave has. So I think that maybe the one of the best case scenarios, maybe hopefully he can get traded or whatever. But for me right now, he's going around also around 80, like more or less where Mr. Godwin is going. So those two guys, I'll probably pass on. If maybe if he fades another couple more rounds, I'll consider it. But right now, I would pass on him.
Yeah, I had him last year with Carr, and it felt like he never had, the season I thought he would when I drafted him.
Yeah,
Um,
same here.
and like you said, who knows what's gonna happen at QB. And that division, has been going through the Bucks over the last few years. So, but I don't see the Saints being able to compete um there. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. Now we still have some time left, so I do want to talk about kind of like I guess the one that a lot of people have been talking about. And I kind of wanted to, avoid that, but again, we still have some time. So let's take some time since we are talking about, players to kind of avoid or keep an eye on. Do you feel with the news of Terry requesting a trade, is that going to severely impact not only him but also Jaden Daniels?
Oh no,
From my opinion,
yeah.
I think it definitely, man. Like everyone, at least before preseason, they have Jaden Daniels ranked like number 3, which is to me crazy. Um, to begin with, especially second year, and now if he definitely loses his star wide receiver, I don't think he finishes in the top 5 if he loses Terry.
Yeah, no, if he holds out, yeah, definitely it's gonna hurt Daniels for sure. Daniels, you know, he, we kind of mentioned a couple pod back that he has Debo Samuel, he has Zach Ertz and Austin Eckler, stuff like that. That they're awesome in the receiving game, but McLaren Terry has been his go-to guy last year. And the thing is that I just don't understand Washington what they're doing. Like just pay the guy. Like I'm sure that I think they have the cap space. You
Yeah,
they have the
that's
cap
a head
space.
scratcher.
And Daniels is on a rookie contract. Like try to go for it. Like I just don't understand. On this move. I would. Daniels. I like him. He has potential. People have him ranked 3. I think I have also had him like 3rd as well. He's right there with your boy Joe Burrow. But if Terry holds out, definitely it's gonna definitely uh, put a cold blanket on on anyone that drafted Daniels, uh, anticipating that he's gonna have an awesome passing. Obviously, he's gonna keep running the ball, which is always helpful. But uh, that definitely will hurt his chances for sure.
Now, on the flip side, so Terry holds out, or he requested for a trade already. The team that I think would be like the match made in heaven, no brainer. And the reason I'm saying this because I saw a report from like one of the Fox Sports insiders that they're willing to spend money on Parsons, now that he's kind of, divorced the Cowboys. So I'm like, if you're willing to spend on Parsons, why would you not go after Terry if you're the Bills?
Right. Yeah. No.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
Josh Allen and Terry in Buffalo?
No. That would be amazing for sure. Uh, they even though they've had they tried I will give it to the Bills. They do keep trying to bring receivers to them. Diggs was they brought him, and he had a awesome chemistry with him. They also tried again with Amari Cooper, but that didn't work out. He dealt with a lot of injuries. But at least they try. At least they're always trying to bring him, weapons. So you gotta give him that. So yeah, if he definitely goes there, Terry will shoot up the rankings. It'll
Like
be the thing that
tremendously, bro.
tremendously. Definitely a couple more rounds, and it just sucks that if he does go, it does take time to build that chemistry with him. But he's a playmaker, and Josh Allen will make it work for sure.
Um, and again, I would much rather spend whatever money I was gonna, if they were to try to go after Parsons, I would rather spend it on Terry. But since we mentioned Parsons for the IDP leagues, because I think you're in one.
Yeah,
I mean, we were talking about what the heck is Washington doing, but everyone's been talking about Jerry Jones, and the thing that it never like hit me until now. When the news dropped to me, it was big, but now everyone's like, what if it's all for the press and to kind of keep people talking about the Cowboys?
right.
But who knows? I mean, Parsons doesn't seem like the guy to kind of play around. So I think if he did that long post and said that he's done with the Cowboys, I don't see that. I don't see him staying there.
Yeah, Jerry Jones, the general manager always screws over Jerry Jones, the owner. Um, like he needs to just be an owner and give that responsibility to someone
Right,
else that
man.
that
Like,
knows what's doing. Like this has been his MO for forever. So that's why they don't win. So that is what it is.
so for my IDP people who are, I don't know if there's like dynasty IDPs that had Parsons. Now he might not play, man, unless who knows. I know for sure he's gonna sit out if he doesn't get traded. I
Yeah,
don't see him suiting up.
yeah. And hopefully he gets back. Let's see. Let's hope.
You
Good.
get
He
you
was a
got
tremendous
any
player.
like honorable mentions before we wrap things up?
A couple of guys, yeah. Uh, Rasheed Rice. I love him as a player. He's currently going in the round, like at the turn at the 4-5 turn. He's going at already 49. Um, he's a hell of a player. I might still draft him, but be aware that he also might get suspended for 6 games. So just something to keep an eye on that. Um, Another guy too was Jonnu Smith coming into the. I was really, he had an awesome, amazing season last season with the Dolphins. Unfortunately, he got traded to Pittsburgh, which they already had Pat Freiermuth. I think they're gonna kill each other's potential. So I'm probably gonna stay away from both of them. Unfortunately, which I was individually, if they would have stayed in the separate teams, I probably would have tried to draft both of them. But together on the same team kind of kills that. And then Cooper Cup, like Cooper Cup has been a PPR gold mine. He got traded. The Rams let him go. He went to Seattle. Not sure. Yeah, I think and Smith Jackson Smith Jigba is gonna be amazing this year. He's gonna be Darnold's wide receiver one. There's a rookie that's coming up named Torrey Horton that he's been uh, making headways there and catching everything. Always making a play. Every game. They also drafted a tight end as well. I believe excuse me, Arroyo. That they even let Noah Fant go. So I'm not sure what Cooper has anything left on him, but he's also someone that I've been kind of staying away from not only last year but this year as well. So
Yeah, now a little bit about that though. I I would kind of use the example that we had with Jones and Mason. I think in between JSN and Cup, I would rather draft Cup later than JSN just because I don't know if JSN's gonna have that same like if he's gonna be that PPR machine, kind of how you're saying, that Coop has
Yeah.
been, or that Cup has been. So I kind of would go that route instead. But thanks everyone for tuning in. Again, these are kind of players and things that you want to keep an eye on slash avoid leading up to the season. Hopefully, this kind of prepares you for your drafts. Was some of you may be drafting, already this weekend, or may have already drafted. But if you haven't, please listen and share the pod. That way, we can get some more listeners. Hopefully, again, it helps y'all prepare for y'all's drafts. Give us a follow. If you have any questions, you can reach me on X. That would be at ArchReaper, ARCHREAPR. Leo, where can they reach you?
Yeah, definitely. If you have any questions, uh, fantasy football, dynasty, whatever. Even if you want to talk about Marvel, Star Wars, you can reach me at Smooth1074. Yeah, follow the show, subscribe, and tell a friend. Much appreciated.
Thanks, everyone.
Peace.